Welcome to the SMS podcast. I'm here today to review It Ends With Us, the latest film from Blake Lively. The crazy thing is, I can't believe Ryan let her out of the house to make this fucking movie because it's so bad. And also this dumbass discourse of the movie from a bunch of 40-year-old wine women who get off to this kind of book that this movie's based on, saying that Blake Lively's a mean girl because the whole cast unfollowed the director, who also plays the abuser in this movie, which is bizarre in itself, that being the director of the movie, that you would cast yourself in the movie as the abuser of the movie. It's just insane. So what's this movie about? It's based on this book, apparently. I've never read this book. I didn't even know it was a book. I remember the first trailer I saw it. I was like, oh, it's just another shitty romantic drama. But then when I saw the part of the abuse in the trailer, I'm like, oh, that's an abuse drama? Okay. And it's funny because apparently I see all these comments. They say that the book this is based on, the writer, Colleen Hoover, she does this in all her books, that the abuser in this movie is the same as every romantic lead in all her books, which is crazy. So yeah, let's get into the movie. This movie starts off with Blake Lively coming back home to her father's funeral. You find out that Blake Lively hates her father because he was an abusive dickhead, but her mom is like, you should write 5 things about your father that you loved. And at this funeral, Blake Lively's about to make the speech, and she has this napkin, and when she opens up the napkin, it's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's blank, and it's the goofiest shit I've seen all year, and I'm not even joking. It was so dumb. It's so dumb. And Blake Lively just walks off. She's like, I can't do this, and she walks off, and then we see her on this rooftop, and suddenly this guy pops out, but this guy's insane. He kicks this shit out of this chair like 50 feet away. Then you realize, oh, that's the lead of the movie. That's Justin Baldoni, yeah. It's insanely awkward. It's supposed to be a meet cute, but clearly it's not. The whole scene, I'm just confused of why Blake was interested in him. I'm like, this guy is insane. Then you find out the names of both of them, which you already know Blake Lively's name in this movie. You find out Justin Baldoni's character's name, and his fucking name is literally Ryle. Get it riled up? It's so fucking stupid. Ryle Kincaid. And Blake Lively's name in this movie is fucking Lily Bloom, and her middle name's Blossom. It's so stupid. Oh my god. Was Colleen Hoover drunk when she was writing this book? Holy fuck. The names are so fucking stupid. Especially Lily's first love, Atlas, Corrigan. All these shitty books that get banned into movies, their names are insane. Like, I remember 50 Shades of Grey. Anastasia Steele, come on. Or Bella Swan. I mean, that name's not too crazy, but yeah. Edward Cullen. So bad. So they're talking, and it's this long scene. Oh my god. I think it's at least 10 minutes, this scene on the rooftop, because it goes on forever. They're getting to know each other. Lily asks Ryle what he does for a living, and he tells her, I'm a surgeon, blah, 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 at Boston General. Colleen, do you realize that becoming a surgeon takes at least 10 to 15 years? And then to be the top surgeon in a city like Boston, especially at his age, is mental, because this dude at most is in his 40s. How would he be the top surgeon of any city? Maybe in like buttfuck Oklahoma, because this dude is in his late 30s or early 40s. How would he be the top surgeon of the Boston area? It makes no sense at all. Also, Lily tells him that she's opening up a flower shop, and he thinks it's goofy, which it is, because her name's obviously Lily Blossom Bloom. So eventually he just straight up says that he wants to have sex with her, and she's like taken aback. back. And he's like, yeah, why don't we confess other things? And she tells him that she lost her virginity to this homeless kid, obviously talking about Atlas. And Ryle's like, whoa, that's wild. And she's like, well, not really homeless, more like displaced. So then she tells him that she doesn't do casual relationships, which makes sense because it's Blake Lively. And Ryle's like, oh, really? And he tries to kiss her, but immediately gets a call, which is so cliche. And that's when Lily realizes that he's an actual surgeon. And she's like, oh my God, I didn't realize you're an actual surgeon. And then Ryle's like, are we ever going to see each other again? And she just tells him no, which is her playing hard to get, as she should, because this guy's a fucking weirdo, obviously. From the first scene, you already know that. So the crazy part about this scene is that it was written in quotations by Reynolds, which is insane because it's such a bad scene. I don't know why Blake Lively said that in her interview. I would have just said that, yeah, Ryan, he was there on set, blah, 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 blah. Not reveal that he wrote this scene, because this scene is terrible. I mean, this movie's bad too, but yeah, that scene in general was really fucking clunky as hell. But yeah, we then get a flashback to Lily and Atlas. And the actress that plays the young Lily, she does look like Blake Lively. Some people saying she looks exactly like her. Not really. She looks more like she's Blake Lively's younger sister. But it was good casting on this movie's part. Cast her as the young Lily. So she sees Atlas for the first time and automatically she's in love, I guess. He's straight up digging through the trash. It's crazy. And then we see young Lily putting all this food away for him. She goes up to where he's staying, which is right next door, at this condemned house, which makes no sense because Lily's dad is the fucking mayor of this town they're in. She goes up and bangs on the plank and she hides right behind a tree. Like, this is some Disney Channel shit. It was so goofy. The next day, he thanks her, and she tells him that if you want, you can shower at my house, wash your clothes, you can borrow some of my dad's clothes, he's not gonna notice. And then afterwards, because Lily's in love with him, she's like, why don't you stay? Why don't we watch TV? And then they start to fall in love with each other. So then it cuts back to the present, and apparently it's months later, and we see Lily opening up her flower shop. So that's when Jenny Slate pops up in this movie, and she asks Blake Lively if she's hiring, but she's like, well, I'm not really seeking out a job. I just wanted to see what was going on in here. I always pass by this place. But then she's like, well, are you hiring though? And then Blake Lively's like, no, not really, but sure, I'll hire you. And Jenny Slate just starts working there and they become besties. But what makes no sense is this fucking outfit that Jenny Slate's wearing, she's dressed like somebody that get murdered in a Alfred Hitchcock movie. It's so goofy and cuckoo. So then they start fixing the place up. Then we cut to this one scene that I assume is months later because this movie has no sense of time at all. Jenny Slate is like, oh, my husband and my brother's pulling up, and don't laugh because they're in pajamas, because this bar gives out free beer if you're wearing pajamas. And of course, her brother is fucking Ryle, which also, does Justin Baldoni think that just because Jenny Slate has a big nose and black hair that they look related? Because they do not come off as brother and sister at all. They look nothing alike. Just that they have a big nose and black hair. Like, Jenny Slate doesn't look 1% Italian at all. Justin Baldoni, he looks like a descendant of Julius Caesar. So this casting make no sense of them being brother and sister. But anyways, they have this awkward reunion. And of course, Ryle's trying to get with her. He even sends her flowers and messages. And then Lily's like, we should just be friends. And he's like, sure, when they have this reunion. So then Ryle walks Lily home after they hang out with Jenny Slate and her husband, who's played by Hasan Minhaj. And obviously she's annoyed, but he keeps pestering her. And he says that, look, I'll leave you alone if you give me a kiss. And she kisses him, obviously, because she's attracted to him, and they just make out. And then Lily's like, well, see ya. So then we get to another flashback, and it shows Lily and Atlas working in her garden, and Atlas is like, well, I overheard you and your parents the other night. And Lily tells him that it happens a lot, and Atlas comforts her. So then we cut to Jenny Slate's birthday party, and when Blake Lively shows up, she's in this fucking designer dress. But anyways, Lily and Ryle go back to his place and they start making out, and Lily's like, I don't want to fuck since we're not together, and he gets salty, but he does this goofy ass thing in which he changes into pajamas and he's like, well, I'm about to go to sleep, you want to join me? And of course Lily does. The next morning Jenny Slate pulls up and she's like, oh my god. And they're just both like, no, we didn't do what you thought we did. And Jenny Slate's like, oh, of course not, blah, blah, blah. And Ryle finally asks her out on a date. Obviously, she says yes. And of course, she falls for Ryle. They get on a few dates. So then it cuts to this other flashback. And honestly, all the flashbacks in the movie should have just been the beginning of the movie. Not that goofy ass funeral scene, or it could have just been the funeral scene and then it flashes to the past and then we start the story with Ryle. Would have made more sense. But of course, Justin Baldoni's a hack. So anyways, this flashback, it shows Lily and Atlas, of course, on the school bus, and they're clearly together, and they overhear these snotty girls saying that Atlas smells bad and that he's homeless, and that Lily probably has a disease for going out with him. So that's when Lily stands up, pulls Atlas up with her so that she kisses him in front of everybody, and then she flips off these girls. So then Atlas is like, purpose, or did you do that because you actually liked me? And Lily tells him, it's because I like you, duh. So then that's when we start making out, and at the same time, Lily's dad comes home. Ruh-roh. So then we cut to the next scene in which Lily introduces her mother to Ryle, but at the same time, this waiter pops up and Lily realizes that it's fucking Atlas because of this scar he has on his hand. Lily's just flustered. She's like, oh my god, it's Atlas. But she doesn't say it. So then Lily goes to the bathroom in hopes of seeing Atlas. And of course, Atlas is there. He pops out. They reunite again. Atlas says, oh yeah, I'm with somebody. Even though he's really not. Because Lily tells him that, yeah, I'm with him, blah, blah, blah. And Lily's just, of course, happy to see Atlas again. So then we cut to the next scene, and Lily and Ryle go out with Jenny Slate and Hasan, minhaj. They announce that they're having a baby. They're at the bar in these fucking dumbass pajamas again. And while they're celebrating, Jenny Slate brings up that her and Ryle had an older brother named Emerson, but that he died when they were kids. Obviously, Ryle's fucking pissed off when she brings that up. So then it cuts to them being at Ryle's apartment, and Ryle's making a fucking frittata, and he asks her about this heart tattoo, and Lily just claims that, oh, it's some dumb shit I did in high school, you have nothing to worry about. So it's this over dramatic ass scene in which it finally ends with Ryle picking up this hot plate of the frittata, which is in the oven for some reason. I'm pretty sure he cooked that on the stove. But because he picks up this hot-ass plate, he gets burnt. And when this happens, you see Ryle accidentally elbow Lily in the eye. And she's distraught, of course. And she accidentally bumps Ryle into this glass, and he cuts his hand. And you see that they apologize to each other, but Ryle's way more apologetic, of course, alluding to that he abused her. But it doesn't show you until this dumbass reveal at the end of the movie. The whole time he was abusing her, like, we already know this. We know. We know. But of course, Justin Baldoni's a hack, so he does this dumbass reveal at the end of the movie, even though they could have just shown the aftermath of the abuse after when it actually happens, instead of this fake out like, oh, wait, whoa, maybe he did abuse her, maybe he didn't, and then reveal, oh, yeah, he did abuse her. It was so clunky. I have no idea why he framed it this way. It doesn't make any sense. So the next scene Lily and Ryle are out to dinner at fucking Atlas's place again. But now this time they're with Jenny Slate and Hasan Minhaj. And her black eye is noticeable. They play it off as an accident. But eventually Atlas sees it and he's outraged. He's like, what the hell is this, Lily? He do that to you? And Lily's like, no, he did it on accident. She tells him it's not what you think it is. But Atlas obviously doesn't believe her. But at the same time, he's being weird too because he's blocking Lily from leaving. Eventually, he lets her go. While they're leaving, Ryle is there. He sees Lily with Atlas, so of course he gets jealous. And this fight breaks out. And when this fight ends, Atlas is like, get the fuck out of my restaurant. So that's when we cut to the final flashback of the movie, and it shows that Lily is about to lose her virginity to Atlas. She claims that she's a virgin, and Atlas is like, whoa, I'm not a virgin, but I've only had sex once, blah, blah, blah. And they have sex. And of course, Lily's dad is there. He's banging on the door, and then he breaks it open. He sees that Atlas is there. Atlas literally ends up in the hospital because of how badly he was beaten by Lily's dad. And that was the last time they saw each other before now, which is insane. So then we cut to this next scene. They're at the flower shop, Lily and Jenny Slate. And who else shows up but Atlas, of course. It's funny because Jenny Slate's like, you know, for someone who kicked us out of the restaurant, he sure comes around a lot. So Atlas says that he tried to show up earlier to the flower shop, but he backed out because he saw Ryle was there. And Atlas does this dumbass thing, which is insane. I don't know if this happens in the book. He literally writes his number down and he puts the number in Lily's phone case. He's like, just in case you need anything. Knowing that she's potentially getting abused. This is so fucking stupid. It makes no sense. We finally cut to the next scene and Lily's talking to Ryle about how her father used to abuse her mother. And it makes Ryle feel bad, of course. Then we cut to this scene of Jenny Slate giving birth. And in this scene, Ryle literally proposes to Lily. And she accepts. I have no idea why. They get married. The next scene, you don't know how much time passes. Who knows? Her mom calls her and she's sad that she didn't get invited to the wedding, which is a little bit suspicious. I assume that maybe Ryle has to do something with that. So afterwards, we hear glass breaking. Of course, it's Ryle getting angry about finding Atlas's phone number and Lily's phone case, which obviously we knew was going to happen. And Lily's trying to reassure him that nothing's going on between her and Atlas. And we see Ryle leaving. When Lily tries to stop him, we see Lily fall down the stairs. And obviously she gets knocked out and Lily wakes up with head trauma. Ryle just tells her, babe, you just slipped. You don't remember? But like I said, obviously Ryle pushed her downstairs, but they don't show that till later at the end. So then Jenny Slate shows that the flower shop's been mentioned in a magazine as being one of the top 10 new businesses in Boston, which sure, why not? And that Atlas's restaurant is number 1. Then you see Ryle bringing that magazine over to Lily, and he points out the section of Atlas being mentioned, and he forces her to read it. In the interview, it claims that Lily was the inspiration, even though she's not named. So this, of course, makes Ryle angry. And Atlas also mentions in the interview that he made this tree carving as a tribute to Lily. And obviously that tattoo of hers is the carving. So this is when we see the most brutal scene in the movie, in which Lily getting forced on the couch and gets bitten on the shoulder where this tattoo's at. She fights him off though, and she storms out of his apartment. Then she goes to Atlas's restaurant to seek help from Atlas. He then takes her to a hospital, and we then find out that Lily is pregnant with Ryle's baby. Yeah, obviously to set up the sequel. So afterwards, Atlas takes her back to his apartment And Lily realizes that he doesn't really have a girlfriend because obviously he was jealous. So they start bonding after all the time apart. And then you get this TMI moment in which Atlas admits to Lily that he was gonna kill himself until he saw Lily through her window and that he couldn't go through with it anymore. Which, I guess, I don't know. Is that in the book or something? I don't know. What's the point of this? And he tells her that she really saved his life when she brought him that food. So eventually, Atlas takes Lily back home, and he tells her to find him when she's ready to fall in love again, blah, blah, blah. And then we see Lily talking to Jenny Slate about what happened. And Jenny Slate's distraught over this. And Lily then asks what happened to Emerson, their older brother. So then she tells Lily what happened. And apparently Ryle accidentally shot and killed Emerson. And Ryle was only 6 years old. And it's fucked him up ever since, and he's never been able to open up. So then Jenny Slate tells her that she hopes that she can forgive Ryle. Like, what? What are we talking about? But that she would never ever speak to Lily again if she stayed in a relationship with Ryle, whatever that means. So then we see Lily moving to a new house as she's preparing for the birth of her kid, of course. And Ryle pulls up. I don't know who gave Ryle her address, but anyways. Then, of course, she gives birth, and Ryle's there. And I think Jenny Slate was there. And, this scene is so bad. It's this drawn-out scene in which Lily tells Ryle that she's gonna name their baby after his older brother, but I'm gonna call her Emmy, and that we're getting a divorce. But before she says we're getting a divorce, Ryle is like, this is the best day of my life. I can't believe you do that. That means everything to me. And then she tells him they're getting a divorce. And Ryle's shocked for some reason. He pleads her to stay. And then Lily tells him that this is the best decision for the both of us. I don't want her to see how angry you can get. And Ryle reluctantly agrees. And he leaves the room. And then we get this horrible line, which I assume is in the book. And it's just Lily with the baby, and she finally says the line of the movie. She's like, this is all gonna stop. It ends with us. Ugh, God. And eventually you then see Lily with her mom, and she brings Emerson or Emmy to visit her father's grave. And finally we see Lily out and about at this market, and of course, who does she run into but Atlas? And they both claim that they're not dating anyone, and of course they're gonna date. The end. Ugh, God, fuck. Anyways, let me get into the positives and negatives. The positives of this movie, I think that the actress playing the young Lily was definitely the best performance of the movie. She even sounded like Blake Lively, which I don't know if her voice was dubbed or not, but if it wasn't, then wow, because she sounded exactly like Blake Lively. I honestly thought she was dubbed, but if she's not, then oh well. She definitely still was the best performance of the movie. It's not even close. I also thought that Blake Lively was good in the movie. I keep saying people saying Blake Lively can't act because they're trying to act like she has something to do with the reason why everybody unfollowed Justin Baldoni, even though it's pretty obvious that it's clearly something to do with him. I don't know what these women are seeing. I don't know if it's because they're drunk off wine or because they want to fuck Justin Baldoni. I'm pretty sure it's because of that. It's just insane. I would say she has the second best performance in this movie just because of how badly written this movie is. And it makes sense that both of them are the best performances in this movie, young Lily and present day Lily. So let's get into the negatives. Obviously, you can tell I didn't like the movie because of how badly the abuse is presented and how clunky it's presented. The fact that this movie is set over a couple years, but there's no indicator of that at all. That's on the director, that's on the writer. Another negative I have about this movie is the fact that Justin Baldoni cast himself as the lead, which is so bizarre. Why would you cast yourself as an abuser? It's totally bizarre. It makes no sense at all. That's like OJ writing a book claiming he did it. Oh, wait, he did. And the nerve of people saying that Blake Lively is marketing it as a rom-com, which none of the trailers have shown. All the trailers have shown that this is dealing with domestic violence. Are these people stupid? I assume, because how can you presume that she's presenting it as a romantic comedy? It doesn't make any sense. It's like they haven't even seen the trailer. Just because the poster is Blake Lively's face surrounded by flowers, what do you want them to present it as? Her with the black eye? It makes no sense at all. Another negative I have with this movie, Jenny Slate and Hasan minhaj in this movie are totally miscast. I have no idea why they would cast these comedians as these supporting characters, especially with the film's plot. It doesn't make any sense at all. I do really like Jenny Slate, but in this movie, she doesn't fit at all. It should have been an actress like Simona Tabasco, that actress from White Lotus, because she's actually Italian and you could play it as them being related. That would have made way more sense than Jenny Slate. Another negative, the film is way too long. This movie is 2 hours and 10 minutes, and in the ending it really dragged. Also, that scene of them on the rooftop, that scene was way too long. The scene of them being at the hospital, that shit was way too long. This movie should have been at most an hour 50. I don't know why it was 2 hours and 10 minutes. There's definitely some shit that could have been cut out. Another thing is that this movie should have even been made, because the book is absolutely terrible. Apparently, all of Colleen Hoover's books are, which isn't surprising, because to me, they come off as 40-year-old white women porn, you know, just like 50 Shades was, or Twilight, or The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which I read in Spanish. It was really bad. Also, the fact that Justin Baldoni thought it was a good idea to star and direct in this movie is insane. Apparently he's directed a couple other movies before, like that wannabe Fault in Our Stars movie called 5 Feet Apart, which they both have a terminal illness. I think I watched it. I don't remember anything about it. I'm pretty sure it was bad too, but definitely better than this. That's all I really have to say about this movie. I would give it a 3.5 or 4 out of 10. It's just insane how badly directed it is. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Bye.